From a three-bedroom home costing 3 years' salary to a week-long family vacation for under $200, the 1970s single paycheck covered it all. Color TVs, new cars, college tuition, weekly restaurant meals. But inflation and wage stagnation changed everything. These are 25 things one salary bought then that seem impossible today. A modest three-bedroom starter home. Let's start with perhaps the most dramatic example of how different life was on a single salary: home ownership. A modest three-bedroom starter home could be purchased for around $26,000 in the early 1970s, rising to about $59,000 by decade's end. What made this truly affordable? Median household income climbed from about $9,800 to nearly $18,000 during this same period, meaning a home cost roughly 2 to 3 times a single year's salary for families in non-coastal areas. The affordability extended to monthly payments. Budget guides recommended dedicating no more than 25% of take-home pay to housing costs, whether rent or mortgage. With interest rates between 7% and 9%, families could secure manageable 30-year fixed mortgages. A $26,000 home with a 20% down payment of $5,200 resulted in monthly payments of approximately $150 to $170, less than 2 weeks' groceries for a family of 4. Home ownership was an assumed milestone of middle-class stability, achievable without decades of saving or dual incomes. Today, similar homes often demand household incomes exceeding $100,000, but home ownership was just the beginning. Families also needed a reliable way to get around. A new family car. Transportation in the 1970s meant exactly one car per middle-class family, purchased new with a manageable loan. The average new car price in 1970 was $3,706, though practical family vehicles like the 1973 Chevrolet Impala cost around $3,200. These represented approximately 40% of median annual family income. Auto loans carried interest rates of 8% to 10%. With a 10% down payment, monthly payments on a $3,500 car ran $60 to $80, staying within the recommended 10% to 15% of total income for transportation costs. Gasoline started the decade at just 36 cents per gallon, meaning a 15-gallon tank cost under $5. Enough to drive 200 to 300 miles. One reliable sedan or station wagon served all needs: work commutes, grocery shopping, errands, and summer road trips. Today, new cars average over $48,000, and most families need multiple vehicles. With transportation secured, families could focus on bringing modern conveniences into their homes. A color television set. The color television transformed from luxury to middle-class necessity during the 1970s. In 1973, a 16 to 25-inch color TV from brands like RCA or Zenith cost between $300 and $500, equivalent to about $200 to $3,500 in today's dollars. This represented about 5% of annual earnings for an average worker making $6,186 a year. Adoption rates show accessibility. By 1972, 50% of U.S. households owned a color television, climbing to 80% by 1980. Installment plans through retailers like Sears spread payments over months, making a $400 purchase manageable. The color TV enabled shared family time around shows like The Brady Bunch, All in the Family, or Mass Sage. Energy-efficient tube technology kept electricity costs under $10 per year. Today, smart TVs easily exceed $500, even for entry-level models. The color TV wasn't the only technological advancement transforming 1970s kitchens and living rooms. A microwave oven. The microwave oven rapidly became a kitchen essential in the 1970s, showing how new technology became accessible to single-income families. By 1978, countertop models from manufacturers like Sharp sold for $200 to $300, representing 2% to 3% of a $10,000 annual salary, affordable without debt. Adoption rates reflect this accessibility. Sales exploded from just 40,000 units early in the decade to over 1 million by 1975. Marketing targeted working mothers and homemakers with promises of convenience, quick defrosting, rapid reheating, and simple meals in minutes. For single-earner households, spending $250 on a microwave made sense when kitchen upgrades took priority over restaurant meals. Running at about 1,000 watts, microwaves used only about 0.05 worth of electricity per hour. Department stores offered layaway options for gradual payment. Today, entry-level microwaves start around $100, but include unnecessary digital features and higher energy demands. These modern conveniences made staying home more comfortable, but families still valued getting away. A family road trip vacation. Summer vacation in the 1970s meant piling into the station wagon for a road trip. A week-long trip across several states typically cost between $100 $50 and $200 total, a tiny fraction of annual income that required no months of saving or debt. Motels charge between $20 and $30 per night, and families kept costs lower by packing coolers with sandwiches, chips, and drinks for $1 or $2 per person per day. Fuel costs were the real game changer, with gasoline starting the decade at 36 cents per gallon, rising to 1.25 by 1980 due to oil embargoes. A 1,000-mile journey cost under $50 in fuel, less than 1% of yearly income. This made national parks, historical sites, and roadside attractions accessible without the $200+ airfare premium. AAA trip planners and free roadside maps enabled navigation without expensive tour guides or travel agents. No smartphones, Wi-Fi hotspots, or expensive theme park tickets. Today, the average family vacation costs $1,500 or more. For those seeking even more affordable escapes, there was an option that cost even less. Camping gear set. For budget-friendly adventures, camping offered ultimate affordability. A complete camping gear setup, including a nylon tent, Coleman stove, sleeping bags, and folding chairs, could be purchased from retailers like Sears for $50 to $100 total, about 1% of monthly income for someone earning $800 per month. National park camping fees were just $2 to $4 per night, with many primitive sites completely free, meaning annual camping outings cost under $50 total. Coleman stoves sold for around $20 and basic family tents for $30. Built for durability. Many families used the same equipment for a decade or more. Camping coincided with oil crises and economic uncertainty, becoming a practical way for families to vacation without straining single-income budgets. It promoted self-sufficiency and taught outdoor skills for a fraction of resort or hotel costs. Today, modern camping gear easily exceeds $300 for a comparable setup. Beyond vacations and recreation, families needed to keep everyone properly clothed throughout the year. A seasonal wardrobe on Layaway. Layaway defined how single-income families managed clothing purchases in the 1970s. A full outfit from department stores like JCPenney cost $20 to $50 per person, paid in weekly installments of just $5, aligned with bi-weekly paychecks averaging around $200. This mattered because only about 16% of families carried credit cards early in the decade. Layaway secured needed clothing, back-to-school outfits, winter coats, Sunday best, without credit card debt or immediate payment pressure. A $30 winter ensemble represented 4% of monthly take-home pay, but spread over 8 to 12 weeks became manageable. Clothing was made in the USA with emphasis on durability over fast fashion trends, making $50 spent on a coat a multi-year investment. Families prioritized quality pieces over quantity. Today's fast fashion hauls easily exceed $200 for a single shopping trip, often on credit cards with interest charges. Staying well-dressed was important, so was staying informed about the world. Newspaper and magazine subscriptions. Staying informed through print media was remarkably affordable in the 1970s. Daily newspaper subscriptions combined with magazines like TV Guide or National Geographic cost just $20 to $40 annually, less than 0.5% of a typical family's income. This was the primary source of news, entertainment listings, and long-form journalism delivered by neighborhood kids on bicycles. One newspaper subscription provided local news, classifieds, sports scores, and comic strips. Reader's Digest cost about $5 per year. TV Guide was essential for planning viewing schedules, and National Geographic brought the world into living rooms. Total print media costs were less than monthly grocery snacks. Today, streaming services alone cost $100 or more per month, not including digital news subscriptions, podcast memberships, or audiobook services. The 1970s model, a physical newspaper each morning, a few magazine subscriptions, fostered family discussions, and shared experiences without fragmented attention or subscription fatigue. Information wasn't the only thing families invested in. Education was a top priority too. A full set of encyclopedias. Encyclopedia sets represented both educational opportunity and significant financial decision for 1970s families. A complete Encyclopedia Britannica set sold for $200 to $400, representing 3% to 4% of yearly earnings, paid through monthly installment plans accessible to single-income households. These were legacy purchases, investments in knowledge serving multiple children through years of homework, research projects, and late-night reading. Payment plans spread the cost to just $10 to $20 per month, making comprehensive knowledge accessible to factory workers, teachers, and office managers in the pre-internet era. The volumes covering ancient history to cutting-edge science provided tangible resources for the whole family. Parents helped with homework, Children explored interests, and families fact-checked during dinner debates. The encyclopedia served multiple purposes year-round. Today's digital alternatives, costing around $100 per year for subscription services, lack the physical presence and permanence of encyclopedia sets. Beyond books, families invested in items that elevated everyday life into something more meaningful. Formal China dinnerware set. Formal China dinnerware sets represented a significant milestone for 1970s middle-class families. A complete set for 8 to 12 place settings could be purchased for $100 to $200 on layaway, about 2% of annual income, less than a month's grocery budget, intended to last generations. These sets were reserved for Thanksgiving, Christmas, anniversaries, or when the boss came to dinner. Often received as wedding gifts or purchased gradually through bridal registry programs, the china represented values, standards, and traditions. Careful storage and use only for holidays reflected preservation and respect for quality goods. Today's disposable culture has largely replaced formal china with casual dishware. When formal sets are purchased, they often represent a much larger percentage of household budgets or require significant credit card debt. The 1970s china set, affordable on a single income and built to endure, exemplified an era when middle-class families could invest in tradition and quality without financial strain. Many sets are still in use today, passed down through families. While china was for special occasions, there was one piece of furniture reserved for everyday comfort: a recliner chair. Dad's chair, typically a La-Z-Boy recliner, was a 1970s living room staple. These recliners in naugahyde or corduroy upholstery ran between $150 and $250. Representing 2% to 3% of average annual salary. Many families bought them outright, though financing spread payments over months. Positioned optimally for watching television, reading newspapers, or unwinding after work, the chair was built to last. Solid construction with mechanical reclining mechanisms that could withstand decades of use. And durable upholstery. These investment pieces served families for 10, 15, sometimes 20 years or more. Catalog shopping often included delivery, bringing the recliner into the home and setting it up. Today's ergonomic recliners often exceed $500 and sometimes reach into the thousands. Home comfort was important. Families also valued entertainment outside the house. Regular movie outing. Taking the family to the movies was a regular treat in the 1970s. A family of 4 could attend for just $8 to $10, with individual tickets costing about $2 each, and adding popcorn brought the total to maybe $12. Less than 1% of a typical weekly paycheck. This made blockbusters like Star Wars, Jaws, and The Godfather accessible to virtually everyone. Drive-in theaters offered even better value. Many charged just $1 per car, meaning families could pile into the station wagon, bring snacks, and enjoy a double feature for less than a single lunch out. Drive-ins were social gathering places, date nights, and family entertainment in one affordable package. With no streaming options, going to the theater was how you participated in cultural conversations around major films. Today, taking a family of 4 to a movie can easily cost $50 or more when factoring in tickets, concessions, and parking, making theaters occasional special events rather than regular outings. Movies provided occasional excitement, but some innovations made daily life at home much easier. A crock-pot slow cooker. The crock-pot slow cooker, introduced in 1971, revolutionized meal preparation for busy families. Selling for just $20 to $30, it cost less than a full tank of gasoline and fit into weekly budgets of families earning $100 per week. Beyond the low purchase price, the crock-pot enabled ongoing savings. Families could prepare inexpensive cuts of meat with vegetables in the morning, leave them to cook unattended, and return to a hot meal, eliminating expensive takeout or restaurant meals. It reduced food waste by using leftovers and cheaper ingredients, and consumed minimal electricity despite running 8 to 10 hours. Marketing targeted working parents and homemakers with promises of affordable convenience. Many crockpots from the 1970s are still in use today, testament to durable construction and simple mechanical design. Today's slow cookers start around $40 and can exceed $100 for programmable models. For single-income families, this $25 purchase could pay for itself within weeks through savings on convenience foods and dining out. The crockpot simplified meals, while another hobby brought culture and artistry into the home. Vinyl record collection. Building a personal vinyl record collection was an affordable hobby in the 1970s. Individual LPs from artists like Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, or Led Zeppelin cost between $3 and $5 each, meaning a respectable collection of 20 to 30 albums cost $60 to $150. Within budget, for a teenager working part-time at minimum wage of $1.60 per hour, or families allocating modest discretionary income. Over 300 million records were sold annually during peak years, making record collecting mass market rather than niche. Families visited record stores together, teenagers saved allowance or paychecks for releases, and albums were treasured possessions played repeatedly, shared, and carefully maintained. The physicality, large album art, liner notes, the ritual of placing the needle made music consumption intentional and valued. You didn't need expensive equipment beyond a basic turntable, and once you owned an album, you owned it forever with no subscription fees. Today's music streaming services charge $10 to $15 per month, providing access to vastly more music but lacking tangible ownership and personal connection. Music filled the home with culture, while another service brought beauty and convenience right to the door. Avon Cosmetics and Household Products. The Avon Lady represented a unique intersection of commerce, community, and affordability in 1970s suburban America. Quarterly orders of cosmetics, perfumes, and household products typically cost $10 to $20, providing homemakers with quality beauty and cleaning supplies while stretching single-income budgets through direct sales pricing. Representatives were often neighbors or friends who knew customers personally, offering product recommendations, free samples, and social connection valuable for stay-at-home mothers. Products were positioned as affordable quality, reliable cosmetics and fragrances that enhanced daily life without straining finances. The quarterly ordering cycle enabled budgeting and taking advantage of catalog promotions. Avon eliminated transportation costs through home delivery. No driving to department stores, finding parking, or navigating crowds. Products came directly to your door, selected from catalogs at the kitchen table. This saved time and money while providing small luxuries. Today's subscription beauty boxes can easily exceed $30 per month, far more than the Avon model. While Avon brought small luxuries to adults, families also invested in their children's futures. 1 year of college tuition and room board. Higher education costs illustrate the changed economic landscape dramatically. In the 1971 to 72 academic year, public four-year colleges averaged $1,542 for tuition, fees, room, and board combined, just 16% of median family income. A single parent's savings, perhaps supplemented by the student working part-time, could cover a full year without massive loans or financial strain. In-state, tuition alone averaged about $480 per year, an amount many students could earn through summer employment or part-time work. Even the complete package remained within reach for middle-class families on single incomes. State and federal grants filled gaps for lower-income students, and many graduated with minimal or no debt. College became a realistic path to social mobility, rather than a privilege for the wealthy. Parents could help children attend without sacrificing retirement savings or taking second mortgages. Students could focus on education rather than working 30 or 40 hours weekly just to cover costs. Today, current public four-year college costs average $25,000 or more annually, representing a year's full-time wages at many jobs and necessitating massive student loan debt. Education was affordable, and so was another essential aspect of family life, staying healthy. Routine healthcare and prescriptions. Healthcare in the 1970s was significantly more affordable for middle-class families with basic insurance. Annual per-person healthcare expenses averaged $297 in 1970, representing about 38% of total costs, with the remainder covered by insurance and government programs. Prescription medications averaged just $3.67, and routine doctor visits represented manageable expenses within single-income budgets. Lower baseline costs combined with comprehensive basic insurance coverage, often provided through a single earner's employment, made healthcare accessible. A doctor visit for a sick child might cost $10 to $15 out of pocket after insurance, and hospital stays averaged about $125 per capita annually. Routine preventive care, vaccinations, and some dental work remained affordable for families earning average incomes. Total healthcare burden for a family of four might represent 5% to 8% of annual income, significant but not catastrophic. The simpler healthcare financing system kept administrative costs lower, with fewer complex insurance tiers, fewer surprise out-of-network bills, and more straightforward pricing. Today, average family deductibles exceed $5,000, premiums consume huge portions of household budgets, and medical debt drives many families into bankruptcy. Healthcare was manageable, and families could also afford appliances that improved daily living. Washer and dryer set. A new washer and dryer set represented a significant but achievable investment for 1970s single-income families. A matching pair cost approximately $500 in 1970, about 8% of average annual salary, financed through Sears Credit or similar retail installment plans at around $40 per month. Washers and dryers from the 1970s commonly lasted 15 years or more, with simple mechanical systems that could be repaired rather than replaced. The cost per use made even a $500 investment reasonable, roughly $33 per year of ownership, or less than $1 per week for clean, dry clothes without laundromat trips or manual washing. Time savings freed up hours weekly for childcare, home maintenance, or rest. Today, modern washer-dryer sets often exceed $500, packed with digital features that may or may not add value, and often have shorter lifespans despite higher costs. The 1970s model provided durable, functional appliances serving families for decades. Laundry automation was a game changer, and comfort extended to beating the summer heat too. Window air conditioner unit. For families in regions with hot summers, particularly those without central air conditioning, a window air conditioning unit provided essential comfort affordably. An 8,000 BTU room air conditioner cost approximately $2,700 in 1973, about 3% of average annual income, a manageable expense for single-earner households providing years of summer relief. Energy consumption averaged about $20 per year in electricity, making it inexpensive to use throughout hot months without dramatic utility bill increases. Installation was typically DIY or done inexpensively by a handyman. For homes built before central air became standard, these window units offered practical solutions without expensive whole-house HVAC installations. Simple mechanical design meant reliability and longevity, often operating 10 or 15 years with minimal maintenance. They represented tangible comfort improvements accessible without significant debt or dual incomes. Today's window units start around $300 and can exceed $500 for higher capacity models, often with smart features and digital controls that add cost without proportional value. Staying cool was affordable, and for music lovers, there was an even bigger investment worth making. Home stereo system. For music enthusiasts and audiophiles, a quality home stereo system represented the pinnacle of audio entertainment. A complete setup, including turntable, amplifier, and speakers, ranged from $600 to $800 in the early part of the decade, about 10% of annual salary, a significant purchase that could be financed through retail credit plans and provided years of listening pleasure. Brands like Pioneer, Marantz, and Kenwood delivered warm, rich sound that vinyl records were capable of producing, creating listening experiences digital formats would struggle to replicate. The stereo system became a living room or den focal point, with receivers displaying glowing dials and VU meters adding aesthetic appeal. This investment brought concert-quality sound into homes, making it possible to fully appreciate albums central to 1970s culture. The communal aspect, gathering to hear a new album in its entirety, studying liner notes, discussing music, created social experiences justifying the expense. Current stereo systems start around $500 for entry-level configurations, but often lack the build quality, repairability, and cultural significance of 1970s systems. Music wasn't just background noise, it was an experience worth investing in, within reach for families operating on a single paycheck. While adults invested in stereos, parents also made sure their children had what they needed. A new child's bicycle. A bicycle represented freedom, independence, and fun for children in the 1970s. Quality bikes from trusted brands like Schwinn or Huffy cost between $30 and $50 in 1970, about half a week's wages for someone working minimum wage jobs at $1.60 per hour, or less than a day's pay for average wage earners. These weren't disposable toys. Durable steel frames withstood years of hard use. Riding to school, neighborhood adventures, paper routes, banana seat bikes with sissy bars, 10 speeds, basic cruisers, all were constructed to last through multiple children and often passed down or sold secondhand. A bike purchased in 1970 might still be rideable in 1980, serving a child through their entire elementary and middle school years. The safety and quality of these American-made bicycles meant parents could trust them for transportation and play without constant worry about mechanical failures. The cultural importance of bicycles, the mobility, adventures, and responsibility they provided made them essential purchases. Affordability meant bike ownership was nearly universal among middle-class children, creating a level playing field for outdoor activities. Today's children's bikes easily exceed $200 for comparable quality, often prioritizing gears and features over simple durability. Beyond bikes for the kids, families could also afford simple pleasures that brought everyone together. Family dinner at McDonald's. Taking the family to McDonald's for dinner was an affordable treat, providing a break from cooking. A complete meal for a family of 4 cost between $3 and $5 total, with hamburgers priced at just 15 to 30 cents, cheeseburgers around 33 cents in 1973, Big Macs at 65 cents by mid-decade, small fries for 26 cents, and soft drinks or shakes at 20 to 25 cents each. This represented less than 2% of a typical weekly paycheck for a single earner, making $200 bi-weekly, making it realistic to celebrate weekends, reward good report cards, or give the cook a night off. McDonald's had expanded with over 1,000 locations by 1970, bringing fast food convenience to suburban and rural communities. The food was different too. Items like fries and apple pies were cooked in beef tallow, creating flavors nostalgic patrons remember, and portions were straightforward without supersizing trends. Today, a similar family meal at McDonald's costs $20 to $40. Fast food was an occasional treat, but one routine expense families faced every week was unavoidable: filling up the family car. Fueling the family car was routine and manageable on a single salary throughout most of the 1970s. Despite oil embargoes, gasoline prices started the decade at 36 cents per gallon in 1970, rising to about 86 cents by 1979 due to the oil crises of 1973 and 1979. Early in the decade, a full 15-gallon tank cost just $5.40, less than half a day's wages for an average worker earning $3 to $4 per hour. Even at higher prices, a tank of gas at 86 cents per gallon would cost around $13. Manageable within weekly budgets where transportation consumed 5% to 10% of monthly income. Gas stations offered full-service pumping as standard, with attendants who pumped fuel, checked oil, and cleaned windshields without expecting tips. Relatively stable pre-embargo prices allowed families to plan long commutes or road trips. A 300-mile family drive might cost under $10 in fuel at the 20 to 25 miles per gallon efficiency common in V8 engines. Even during embargo peaks, gasoline remained affordable relative to incomes. Self-serve gas stations in the late 1970s reduced costs further. Today, $50 or more to fill a tank can represent a significant weekly expense. Fuel costs were manageable, and so was another form of regular maintenance: personal grooming. A professional haircut. Professional haircuts remained accessible and affordable throughout the 1970s. A basic men's haircut at a local barbershop averaged $2 to $5, with specific documentation showing prices like $3.50 by 1977 and $2.25 for basic cuts in mid-decade. These amounted to less than an hour's wages at the minimum wage of $2.30 in 1977, or well under 1% of monthly take-home pay for someone earning $800 per month. Barbershops were community hubs where men gathered for conversation, exchanged news, and maintained social connections while receiving bi-weekly trims. Some shops offered hot lather shaves for an additional $1 to $2. Women's salon services cost slightly more, ranging from $5 to $10 for basic styling, but remained affordable as part of regular household maintenance. Regional variation existed, with urban areas like New York charging $4 to $6 while rural communities maintained lower prices. The no-frills approach, simple cuts without elaborate styling products, coloring, or add-on services, kept costs low. Today's haircut prices easily range from $20 to $50 or more. Haircuts were routine and affordable. Perhaps no expense tells the story better than what families bought every single week. Weekly grocery staples. Weekly grocery shopping illustrates the changed economics of single-income living. Families of four could cover a week's essentials for $25 to $40 depending on the year, with specific surveys showing $30.32 in 1972-73 and increases to around $40 by 1975 as food inflation accelerated. Even at these levels, grocery costs represented about 15% to 20% of household budgets for families earning the median income of around $12,000 by mid-decade. Specific prices tell the affordability story. A loaf of bread cost 25 to 35 cents, a dozen eggs 60 cents, a gallon of milk 1.15, ground beef about $1 per pound, and produce-like bananas at 15 cents per pound, or potatoes at 10 cents per pound. These prices allowed home-cooked meals to stretch single-income budgets, with families emphasizing bulk purchases, seasonal produce, and minimal waste to combat 10% to 15% annual food inflation. Families regularly used newspaper coupons, consulted weekly advertising circulars from supermarkets like A&P or Safeway, and planned meals around sales. The focus was on unprocessed whole foods rather than expensive convenience items, with most meals prepared from scratch. Some families revived Victory Garden practices, growing vegetables to supplement groceries. Single earners could still provide nutritious meals without relying on credit or requiring a second income. Today, $150 to $200 per week is common for family grocery shopping. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.